got all my bits and boots ready. So, guys, I came up with this great bit for the start of the episode.
Okay.
You know the song "Bulls on Parade"?
Yeah.
What about "Chills on Parade"?
No.
Is that good?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Hi, welcome to Creature Club.
Get on with the episode. Be a nice cold opening.
Chuul's on parade.
Bano, bano,
Bano. And that's it. That's the joke. That is, you replace the word bull with Chuul.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm doing my best. Hello and welcome to Creature Club. It's a weekly podcast all about the monsters in Dungeons and Dragons. Every week we take an entry from the 5th edition Monster Manual. We talk a little bit about its history, we talk a little bit how the stat block works or how it looks, and then we talk about how that might work in a fight or how you might use it in your setting. I'm Daniel and I'm joined by Mikey Deasy.
Hey, what it is?
And Timothy and Timothy Porter.
Hello. I didn't realize we got so street. We're so cool.
I mean, I
now.
didn't either.
I did, yeah. No, I'm the least street person there is.
I didn't want to say it, but
It's okay. Don't worry.
Oh.
You know, everyone's thinking about it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Hey, Daniel, welcome back to the show. Good to have you back.
Hi, it's good to be back. I was in the wrong country and I've returned to the correct country,
Yeah,
so now I can get back to recording.
They sent you to the wrong country. That's weird.
Sent me to the wrong country. I got in the box and I wrote on it, put me in the right country, and there was just a misunderstanding, and I ended up in the wrong country for a while.
Well,
So
now
I
we
got
know what that company thinks the right country is and how racist they are.
Yes,
yeah.
the mysterious company.
the one that ships me everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. just,
Wake up in the morning, I get in a box, I put work outside, and I end up at work. I mean,
yeah, that's true. And then, but instead of saying home, you put down my own country this time.
Yeah.
So they sent you to, where were you? France?
I was in London.
Okay, London, whatever.
Oh.
Good guess.
No, it
About
was
as far away.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to have you back. Me and Tim were just
Good to be back.
sad without having you
Yeah.
here.
I heard you.
Extremely.
Yeah, I think you said you were going to beat me up, which you haven't done yet. So
We didn't say that.
I don't know.
No, we didn't. No, we're not actually going to do it.
No, don't.
Oh, thank
remember
God,
saying
because
that.
I was really worried about the next time we'd have D&D that you guys would just show up at my house and beat me up.
I think that would happen. Yeah.
Oh no.
Cool. Well, that's good. Should we talk about some monsters, guys?
Yes. No one cares about me or what this. Or what I
Nah,
do
let's
on
get
this podcast is
let's
about.
get rid of this Daniel talk. Let's talk about some monsters.
Exactly. Let's talk about something that everyone cares about. It's time for.
I haven't even opened my monster manual yet. What am I doing? This is like the
Oh my God.
Most
you
amateur-
guys.
Oh my God! Come on, man. This is episode 21, maybe. I'm not sure.
I think it's 23.
It's like the one thing I have to do for this show is open a monster manual on the right page.
Yep.
Okay,
no,
I have it
Rustle
here.
some paper.
So we're doing what, unicorns?
Yes.
Almost.
Exactly. Yeah.
They have horns.
No,
in
I
their
thought we were on vampires.
head. Cool. So this episode is the Chuul.
This episode is the Chuul. Why don't we very briefly describe it? I guess this is kind of an exercise.
Okay, so think like battle lobster
Yeah, that's a good start.
with I don't know, because lobsters kind of have like tendrils on there, kind of where the mouths should be.
Yeah, they do.
But this had like a lot more of them. Think like Cthulhu, kind of.
Yeah. I think like a
it's-
lobster was trying to swallow an octopus and it got caught in its throat for the face.
Got too much octopus.
And you're just like walking in on this, and you're like, "Oh, should I go?" or
And you
are
can't
you
wipe.
good?
You can't wipe it off because like, or like take it
Yeah.
out because he has these big claws and not like hands with posable thumbs.
Yeah. So the Chuul is a little unusual looking. It's a sort of a yellow, lobster-like creature. It has two big claws, but it also has four legs, and it has kind of a long, almost fish-like tail. It's a little bit like if you crossed a lobster and a shrimp,
Or a
and then gave
lobster
it, like-
and a centaur, maybe.
maybe actually.
Maybe, yeah.
Because he has the two big arm limbs and then the four lower, more
Yes.
mobile limbs.
I was gonna say if you got the alien from Alien, that would be a good example
Which
of like
one?
the arms and legs.
I'm sorry.
Xenomorphs. Classic Xenomorphs. Alien vs. Predator. Queen one. Almost.
Oh, that was really good. Sorry.
Yeah. Typically quite chitinous, while Daniel is falling over himself.
That was
Hard
really
shell,
good.
big, strong, muscular, chitinous boys with massive claws.
Yeah. Pretty much that. You know, it's very crustacean-y looking, big fantasy crustacean. That's kind of what I would say. But they have been around since 3rd edition, so kind of a young boy in terms of what we talked about before. A lot of the guys we've seen talk about in the show kind of have been there since day one or part of like mythology or something. But this guy's like a D&D monster who's been around since 3rd edition.
Yes. It's interesting. It's like it's kind of, I think the vibe they tried to go for with this monster manual was trying to kind of do almost like a greatest hits of D&D.
Yeah.
So I think that's why a lot of the monsters we see are either from Greyhawk, or they're from the original game, or they're from very early editions or very early supplements.
Yeah.
And then when we break that tradition, when we say, for example, the Blights were relatively recent, the idea, my theory is that that's because they were the signature creature of the Sunless Citadel, which was the first adventure released for 3rd edition, and therefore, like, obviously I don't have that background, but I imagine people who played 3rd edition would be familiar with that and would kind of appreciate that callback. And I can assume in the same way that, like, the Chuul, or maybe the Cull, I actually don't know. There's no pronunciation guide.
What are we gonna call it this time?
I think Chuul. I already made the Bulls on Parade joke, so I think we're stuck with Chuul.
I'm going to alternate between various different interpretations the whole way through the episode.
Oh, we could also have done 2 Chuul for school.
Ooh, that's great.
It is. I did actually think it was like call it cool when I first saw it.
Yeah, like cool, like kind of a ha sound.
Yeah,
like,
very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chuul. That's what I'm calling it. So.
Grand. But so I think the reason this creature is here is because it's a creature that has a relationship with the aboleth, which is obviously one of the big bads, one of the kind of classic, adventure-ending monsters that you fight at the a great last boss, which we had great fun with in the aboleth episode, which is one that I've recommended several times.
Yeah,
I still think it's really good.
It's in our second ever episode.
Second ever episode.
We did that in the first ever Creature Club recording. So.
But yeah, so I think the reason that these guys are in it, even though they're slightly more modern, is because they have that relationship to another creature in the book, and this is a great way to feed into the adventure, right? Like, you've got this slightly lower level creature that lets you reach the aboleth instead of going goblin, 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 aboleth.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the kind of signature bad guy that you have to fight to face an aboleth.
They appeared in 3rd edition, and then in 3.5, and then in 4th edition.
Yeah.
They also appeared in Stormwrack, which is a supplementary book from 3.5 that was kind of it was sort of the what about pirates though kind of book.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So they appeared in that. There was another version of them. The slime Chuul, a fucking slime, god.
Yes.
Slime mage.
And the slime Chuul, the idea was that it was like a Chuul that got taken over by mind flayers, which I do like, because I always like when they do a variant of something that's been mind flayered, like the I can't remember what. There's a version of it for the Beholder in Vola's Guide to Monsters, and I love stuff like that. I love kind of here's what happens if these 2 monsters meet, right? It's kind of cool. It gives you an idea of how you can set up things in your world. But anyway, that's all there is, really. That's all there is to it. So let's jump into the book.
So the first paragraph for the Chuul says that they are survivors of the ancient Aboleth Empire, and it states that Chuls are crustaceans, the Aboleths modified and endowed with sentience. They followed ingrained directives of their creators, as they have done since the dawn of time. So it's basically establishing that these guys are ancient. Like, we talked about the Aboleth in the earlier episode, and they are basically kind of pre-gods, essentially. They are primeval. They are core monsters.
The one of the kind of classic bits of lore is that the aboleths view the gods as young upstarts. Which is sort of a fun way to interpret how old they are and how long they've been around. So yeah, they were changed or built by the aboleths as servants. their job was just to go gather resources for the aboleths because they were better at traversing across land, whereas the aboleths preferred to remain in water.
Yeah.
The only thing it says about them that isn't related to that is that they remain perfectly obedient regardless of how much time it takes. And even like their sort of instinctive behavior, their natural, like, you know, what they do without thinking, that what they do all the time and what the players will encounter them doing probably is actually behavior that they were told by the aboleths to do, which will be things like gathering treasure or taking prisoners or, you know, guarding a fortress or something like that. Like some directive they've been given millennia, aeons ago that they're still just kind of thoughtlessly acting out.
Yeah, they're working on instinct, essentially, that's been kind of built into them. Like the aboleths saw some crustaceans and were like, hey, I want those to be better. And so he like altered them completely and changed their instincts from scrounging and kind of groveling at the bottom of kind of rock pools to become these sentient things that, while sentient, do just kind of follow their orders. They're kind of robots almost.
Yeah,
or
they actually
like
they are almost like servitors. And then the sort of the two kind of unique elements of the Chuul are that it has the innate ability to sense magic. So that works as detect magic, except it's longer range. It's 120 feet, so it's very far away. It's further than the creature's dark vision, which is important, which we'll get to. But it's basically within 120 feet, and it works exactly like Detect Magic, which means that you use an action to activate it, and then you can spot auras, and you can tell what school they're related to. Oh, and obviously, sorry, like auras will come from magic items or people who are currently have a spell on them or can cast spells.
Yeah. Maybe that's a kind of a shout out to the old, like, what are they called? The pistol shrimp, the most powerful guys, the Alpha Day shrimps. They have, like we have as humans, we can see 3 different wavelengths of light. We can see short, mid, and long. And a lot of crustaceans have these other patterns that they can see, and maybe their eyes are just adapted to be able to see the auras or sense the auras of magical items that
they have.
Most of the creatures can't.
The shrimp has a 4th cone, I think.
I think they have 27 or something.
Oh, wow.
It's some ridiculous number. Like, they can see incredible amounts. Yes. But it's also theorized that like each of their kind of cones can only see one color, so it's more like identifying different colored things as opposed to the vast different colors that we can see.
And then the last point, the last paragraph describes that the psychic bonds, the sort of telepathic orders or like pathways, basically the programming, if we're going to use the robot analogy, inside the Chuuls is still present. So if an aboleth finds Chuuls, it can just treat them as its own and order them around.
I think it's more establishes that like they see an aboleth, they are now like basically under its spell. Like they see aboleth, they think, oh, boss, gonna help him. I don't think it's even a matter of the aboleth has to go, hey, come here.
Yeah, it is kind of, it's cool having it like in their nature. They just have to like follow an aboleth. Even if there might not be one around, if they eventually find one, they're like, okay, he's our boss, great. And it's just kind of part of their nature, yeah.
Yeah. I'd imagine if they were working independently, just gathering whatever wealth, as soon as they kind of find an aboleth, they'll move whatever wealth they have established to that aboleth, you know?
Yeah.
Because they seem, according to some of the paragraphs, to be kind of undying. I think there was a point in there somewhere where they basically live forever to work at this thing, you know? So they will have existed for quite a while up to now, and probably even individually would have accumulated quite a hoard. So that's nice to throw at your players.
So you can't kill it, Tim?
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Ah, nice one. Good one.
Thanks. Talking sci-fi. But yeah, that's the history. They don't have any history in the real world, as far as I know, apart from maybe that dubious attempt that I made to connect them to the pistol shrimps and the other crustaceans in the world.
But yeah, because they're a D&D solely monster, and they are a pretty young D&D monster, so not too much to say about it. Shall we move on to the stat block?
Yes!
Nice one, yes. All right, meat and potatoes time, dinner time. Okay, welcome to Dinner Time, guys.
It's been so long since I've eaten. They didn't let me eat in the other country.
Because you're trapped in a box, I think. They didn't actually let you out of the box.
No.
Wow.
Because you wouldn't open it. Like, think about it. If you get sent a parcel for the wrong address, you don't open it up.
I open it up every
You
time.
just gotta send it back.
No,
oh wow!
I don't.
I'm gonna call the police. 1 second.
Hey, police.
Hi, Polis.
I don't do that. Anyway, so we have a Chuul. He's a large aberration, chaotic evil. Scary. Armor class 16. That's his natural armor. Hit points 93. Speed 30 and speed 30 in the water for swimming. Sorry. So that's cool. Has a swimming speed. It makes sense because he's a crustacean. He has a 19 strength, 10 dexterity, 16 constitution, 5 intelligence, 11 wisdom, and 5 charisma. So a pretty basic animal stat, as we've kind of
kind of a beastie stat line. You know, sort of like dangerous but not very clever.
Yeah, I think it's been established that like intelligence of 4 basically means like they can't talk and they can't like understand language. So I think giving it 5 means that like it can understand whatever you're saying or whatever orders it's getting, but you know it's not going to interpret them in its own way.
It's not going to argue.
It's going to do the thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like you can give it orders in like a language, but he has skills perception +4. Makes sense, kind of with the sense magic thing they're going for. Mm-hmm. So I can kind of see that. Damage immunities, poison. Okay. Condition immunities, poisoned. Makes sense. Senses, dark vision, 60 foot, and a passive perception of 14. Okay. Languages, understands deep speech, but can't speak. So that kind of makes sense with
that's
abolets.
what we talked about before.
I mean, with an entire octopus in your mouth, it's hard to speak.
That's true, but you can understand people if you're eating octopus.
Yeah.
And he has a challenge rating of 4. So, you know, kind of like he's a good... If at the time you're fighting abolets, I'd say he'd make a good minion for abolets for the level your guys would be at, I'd say.
They're pretty they're large, so they'd be a pretty significant minion. So like maybe give them a couple hits before they go down.
They're the kind of cool creature where you could have one be the boss when your player's very low level. Like if they're level 3 or 4, you could have one be like a boss fight for them.
Yeah.
And then later on, as they get to like level 7 and 8, you can have them fight like 2 or even 3 at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's fun when video games do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actions.
Yeah, actions. Reload. Amphibious.
Sorry. Yes. It's traits before it's actions. I apologize.
Yes. Amphibious. The Chuul can breathe air and water, and it can sense magic. The Chuul senses magic within 120 feet of it at will. This trait otherwise works like the detect magic spell, but isn't itself magic. So that's interesting there.
Yeah, so what that means is it basically, when it uses its ability to detect magic, unlike a wizard, so let's say a wizard is like, I want to detect magic, and they cast detect magic. If there's a Chuul nearby, it can detect their magic with its sense magic, but the wizard can't detect it.
Okay, yeah.
It's almost got like magic stealth.
Interesting.
It also, the wording of it is a little bit, like, it doesn't seem to be as instinctual as I had initially thought, because it says 120 feet of it at will. So it basically has to be in like a state of looking for its treasure. Like, maybe that's so it doesn't like wake up while it's sleeping anytime something comes near and gives you an opportunity to sneak up on it if it's sleeping or something with your magic stuff. But it appears to be like it has to be an active like search for magical stuff, since it is at will.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way I would read it is that it's almost like a radar pulse or something, like, you know, something that the creature uses to,
like a sonar, just like a boo.
Yeah, exactly, like to enhance it when it is hunting, but it wouldn't necessarily use it for no reason. I imagine that like when there's no stimulus, these creatures remain very still and do very little, and like it's only if they hear something or if they, like, you know, if they have some order to do something regularly that they actually kind of act. But yeah, so sorry. Now actions.
Actions.
Reload. So
cut.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Multi-attack. The Chuul makes 2 pincer attacks. If the Chuul is grappling a creature, the Chuul can also use its tentacles once. Then it has its pincer, which is pretty good. +6 to hit, reach 10 feet, so that's a little bit longer range than your kind of melee party members. Does 2d6 +4 bludgeoning damage on hit, and the target is also grappled, which is which is quite good. They don't get to make a check to avoid being grappled. They just are grappled if they get hit. So that's a really powerful 2-for-1. If it is larger or smaller, so obviously like the Chuul, like everything else, can't grapple things bigger than it. And it doesn't have 2 other creatures grappled. So that's clearly establishing it holds 1 creature in each pincer.
Yes. And it has a tentacles ability. 1 creature grappled by the Chuul must succeed on a DC 13 Constitution saving throw. Constitution saving
Constitution?
Constitution.
Constellation.
Test Constitution.
Test condensation. Saving throw. Or be poisoned for 1 minute.
Constellation.
Until the poison ends, the target is paralyzed. The target can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on a success. Which is nice.
Yeah.
Kind of hardcore. It could very quickly put your hard hitters and your fighters out of action if they fail 2 DC saving throws.
So that tentacle is... Let me just confirm my suspicion. That tentacle is almost identical, with the exception of with the exception of no damage. It is almost identical to the tentacles of the carrion crawler. It has the same difficulty check on the saving throw, and it has the same poison effect of you're poisoned and you are paralyzed as long as you're poisoned. The differences are that the tentacle effect is that a creature who is already grappled has to make a saving throw, whereas the tentacles are you get hit and then you make a saving throw.
Okay.
So there's more of a delay in the Chuul's poison, but actually both effects are similar, which is interesting. They even both have kind of tentacles. You could think about maybe that the carrion crawler is a grub that becomes a Chuul. That might be interesting.
Interesting, yeah. And the poison effect, just for you guys to know, it gives you disadvantage on attacks and ability checks. So
poison means that, but then you're also paralyzed, which means you can't take actions and everything. All attack rolls have advantage, and melee attacks are automatically crits, I think.
Yeah. That's true. I kind of want to make sure that we're right with this one, because we kind of pantsed the carrion crawler one.
I've got it here in my DM's guide. My Dungeon Master screen. It's got all the conditions.
Same here. Yeah, I have my DM screen here.
Yeah. Is incapacitated and can't move or speak. Automatically fails strength and dexterity saving throws. Attack rolls have advantage. Any attack that hits the creature is a critical hit if the attacker weighs within 5 feet. And incapacitated is can't take actions or reactions. So you can't do anything. You can't move. You can't speak. You automatically fail strength and dexterity saving throws.
Can't wake up.
You wake me up inside. And then every attack against you. What's interesting about paralyzed is that every attack against you has advantage, including ranged attacks, which is surprising. But then I suppose if you assume that you've also fallen prone, then you have disadvantage, so it just balances out in the end. And then the fact that everything is a crit is unbelievably dangerous.
Yeah.
Especially like with this guy, because that would mean he would deal 46 damage, which is bad news bears. I mean, it would be very cool to have him roll a crit on a paralyzed creature, and you described that it just like cuts them in half.
Yeah.
It's like the bit in Pokemon.
Yeah, the bit where he picked up Ash and he just cut him in half.
No,
that was a very...
the bit with the bit where Metapod fought Pinsir.
Yeah.
And he cut... I don't remember this, sorry.
See, Tim remembers it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry I'm not Tim, Daniel.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna. I don't want to have a fight about it.
It's alright.
No, if I recall correctly, it's a fantasy. Like it's like a thing that Ash imagines the Pinsir killing his Metapod by cutting it in half.
Right.
No, he's telling it to harden, and the Pinsir cracks his shell, and that's how he becomes Butterfree.
Yeah, but he imagines it cutting it in half altogether, which is why he gets worried.
Oh my goodness.
I might be misremembering,
ultra-hard.
but I'm pretty sure that is true. That he basically envisions, like, what if the Pinsir cuts my Metapod in half, and then in reality all that happens is the shell gets damaged, and then it turns into Butterfree.
Wow, beautiful.
So that's a stat block. Shall we munch on some ice cream?
I'm so hungry.
Is it dessert time?
Okay, all right. We've been starving Daniel, and he needs dessert
Been
first.
denying him. Yeah.
If I don't get my dessert, I die.
That's fine. Let's have dessert. Let's have dessert time. Let's have dessert time. That's what I said. Do I even care anymore on this show?
I don't know, man. I mean, only you can answer that.
That's true. Yeah. All right. Cool. So, how would you guys use him? I have a story of. Actually, first, before we go into that, last week we recorded to all of us together. Daniel, you said that you used a Chuul before in a game of yours.
I did.
And I, for the life of me, can't remember when you used him. So, do you want to? Yeah. Is that an interesting story to tell, or?
I will explain it very briefly. So the Chuul you fought was in the if you recall correctly, there was a knight with one arm who hired you guys to go retrieve his friend's armor.
Yes.
And the creatures you fought when you did that were Chuuls.
Yes. Okay, I remember.
Which is why they had collected a hoard of treasure. And also why he'd lost his arm, because they have those real big dangerous pincers.
Yes, that's true.
Cool.
Yes, I remember that now.
I have also used them.
When did you use them, Tim?
In the world that I had, there was a city that was fated for doom, as I kind of fated all of the major cities in my world. And the party was running some errands, and they ran outside of a kind of giant mountain city, and out into a forest. And in the forest there were these giant chitinous guys, hint hint, they were Chuuls, and they basically walked past the party because they rolled some nice good stealth checks. But I was basically implying that, well, if they had known about Chuuls, that they were going from wherever they were to the city, which had been recently occupied by an aboleth, which nobody had figured out yet. So there's a little insider info if anybody ever runs my game, if I ever publish it or whatever.
Yeah. That's cool. I haven't used them, but I have played a game with one in it. It's the first game of a friend of ours, a friend of the podcast, Owen, who I don't think listens to the show, but we play a bunch of D&D with him. He was running a game that I guess was kind of short-lived, didn't really turn into anything, and it was a pirate campaign, kind of a pirate-themed one. And I was Captain Ray. I was a captain of a pirate ship, and I was fighting some pirate bounty hunter called the Gallow Man. And we were just kind of sword fighting, kind of a bit of swashbuckling, and then he uses magic, and then of course a Chuul kind of appears from the depths and just kind of hops onto the ship and starts eating up the crew of on both sides, and we're like, run away, because we were level 1, we couldn't fight it. So it's a fun little introduction to something like that for a naval campaign. It was very cool, I thought. That's Chuuls of when we used them. How would we use them again if we were to use them, guys? Any ideas?
I like them as the old harbingers in my little campaign.
Of death?
You see it, Chuul.
Yes.
Harbingers of aboleth, essentially. That's just what they are, essentially, to me, a lot of the time. It's not all they are. They're deep, complex creatures, They have lovely etymology and whatever.
And they have dreams and aspirations, Tim. Come on.
They do. I shouldn't lower them to just being one thing. But yeah, I think if a Chuul turns up in my campaign, I think it's very heavily implying that either there will be aboleths in the future, or there is an aboleth currently somewhere nearby.
Yeah, they are a fun little, they're a fun boss, as you mentioned, Dan, for a low-level party to kind of close off the low-level adventure and then introduce the next aboleth-themed adventure, kind of have them as the mini-boss, and then them showing up later when you're strong enough to fight loads.
So the thing I would suggest in terms of if we're going to do the classic, we're fighting one Chuul in a blank room, in an empty room with white walls. Kind of that idea of the initial fight. One thing you could do, which would be an interesting way of changing up the fight a little bit, sort of both mechanically and also kind of act as a sort of adaptive difficulty in a fun way. Would be that the Chuul you are fighting is not there for you. the Chuul has a very specific objective. So let's say, for example, the Chuul wants to get the big rock of magic, and it's in a room in your house. It's your centerpiece. So the Chuul breaks in your house. I have the big
rock of magic, and I'm gonna put it in my room and leave it there.
I'm gonna put it right next to this macaroni sculpture I made.
Yeah.
This sculpture of a dog. This painting, this watercolor of a dog I made when I was 7.
Oh no! The big Chuul's gonna take my big rock and my macaroni.
No, don't.
No. Magic-proof macaroni dog.
Nice.
No, I need that. So the Chuul is interested in this artifact or this object, whatever it might be. And so what I like is the idea that you can use that to mislead the creature, because it's not necessarily a question of intelligence in this case. It's more specifically a point about how it's best way to put this is it's very single-minded, I suppose, if that makes sense. Kind of playing with that idea of it almost being like an automata, like acting on simple instruction. So it's told, go and get the big rock of magic, or the orb of dragon slaying, or the stick of kingdom breaking, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And so, like,
Powerful
obviously
stick.
the aboleth wants this so that it can enact its evil plans, and so the Chuul is pursuing this object. So when it encounters the party, it maybe only is interested really in like fending them off and returning with the item. So it's kind of the party's decision whether they try to like let it take the item and then try to fight it as it runs, or like try to stop it getting the item, or even use the item to lure the creature into a trap, or like play keep away with the item,
Yeah.
depending on what kind of party you have. And that's fun because it lets players use proficiencies and spells and items they might not normally use, but also like it lets you play with some mechanics that don't get explored as often. So for example, if you wanted to do that classic keep away idea, someone like a monk or a barbarian who has the fast movement ability and gets to move extra speed would be perfect for that role, because they can literally play keep away.
Yeah.
So like
But
they get to use
the
their
Chuul will
abilities.
still be concentrating on them.
Yes, exactly. So the Chuul will be like chasing them every round and kind of only like sweeping players aside if they get in the way, which means that they can kind of choose to do that. And obviously the benefit is, well, I might get to opportunity attack them, but the downside is they will hit me. So then I will maybe die or get paralyzed by the poison or whatever.
In a similar vein, you might want to give your motivation to attack your party by like maybe like you're walking through like a kind of a rocky shore or something, and you're just attacked, but it's only going for your wizard because he has his magic-y spell book that is like bright and shiny to him. Or maybe like maybe not, because that would kind of steal the book potentially from your
Well,
wizard.
no, because I mean, like, he'd only lose the spell book if the party lost the fight, and at that stage they might have bigger problems. And if that's the worst thing they lose, then that's a great motivation for them to go back.
It's very he does lend himself well for like a random encounter. Like, he's just attracted to magic, and most likely your players will either be magic or have magic items. Yeah, they'll just
accumulate magic items,
you know,
like dust bunnies.
Exactly. So your player party is like the most magical thing in the world, I'd say, in your game, because of the amount of magical items they have. So it makes sense for Chuuls to just kind of flock to them, I'd say, and just want them, or like, want their magic. So it's like if you have random encounters in your game, then they make sense like wherever.
Chuuls want them. Ankegs want to be them.
Check out this one weird trick that Chuuls do.
Wizards want him shut down. I don't know.
Okay. So cool. How would you guys think about some sort of like super Chuul? And I know that's kind of like an aboleth, but not really. But what if we made like a Chuul but huge and stronger? What would you kind of add?
I was
to
thinking a cool thing to add to kind of buff him a little bit would be that he can like use his tentacles as kind of projectiles, because there are octopuses that shoot their tentacles at other things as like a defense mechanism. Yeah.
Really?
So maybe they become a projectile, like after a certain amount of damage, or maybe just immediately they start pinging your characters with the best magical items so that they can paralyze them potentially and put them down.
like a machine gun. Just shooting
So
tentacles
where
at
do they
you.
keep coming from?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe give them a limit to the amount of paralyzing tentacles that they can use.
Yeah. Maybe give them like 4 claws. I don't know, and have like more attacks. That's kind of stupid. But
Yeah,
it can
more
work.
more attacks, or giving them a kind of legendary action, or like per round, so that they can attempt another grapple on them mid-round. Because if you're fighting just one of them and it's a bigger one, I think it makes it more interesting if they have more than one place in the initiative.
Guys, can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
Can I be very honest with you?
Yeah.
I don't really like this guy that much.
Really?
I'm kind of bored by just reading him in this episode, to be honest with you. I don't know how to use him. I really don't.
Well, I mean, like, realistically, the creature is just a servant to another creature, so it's not supposed to be exciting. The thing I will say about the Chuul is it's very straightforward stat line. It's very straightforward piece of lore. It's supposed to act as a servant for greater power, so it's supposed to be pursuing those objectives. But the thing I would add is that with the leadership of a actual aboleth, if, for example, the Chuuls can capture people and bring them back to the aboleth can then use its domination power on those people. So the Chuuls on their own, I totally agree, they're not super exciting, but they could serve as mounts for servants of the aboleth.
Yes, that's cool. That's very
I think
cool.
So you got this mind-controlled ranger on the back of this giant lobster thing. It's just like, hey, what's up? More trouble.
Yeah. It's just, I guess what I'm kind of like thinking is, I think that the better aboleth servants are the mind-controlled people, mind-controlled humanoids, and just give them like here's a lobster that works for the aboleth, and it's also a fish thing. It's just not really... I think it's more eldritch horror when you have like a person who's dominated by this, like, elder god like thing, and just giving them one of these guys is just kind of, I just don't find it too exciting. But mounts are cool. That's a cool idea, Daniel.
you could just use the Chuulus as like a guard dog to one of the servants. I think that would be pretty effective. I also think that they could be used in a similar vein to Daniel's idea of the, like, they just go for this one thing. Maybe a town has had a particularly valuable item to them stolen by some big chitinous mass, and then you're like, oh, was it those dang Chuuls again? Look at them go.
No, it wasn't.
Such go-getters.
It's just a crab. It
No,
was
what are you
just
talking
one crab.
about? Get out. You're not allowed to help us anymore.
I do want to Monster Hunter this monster, but do you guys have any more final statements on this guy, quick, before we Monster Hunter this monster?
I'm gonna eat this monster.
It does look like
That's Monster Hunter.
It does look like it'll taste good.
It actually does look. It kind of reminds me of like crab meat or something. Like it's actually probably kind of nice, or even like it's a little shrimpy. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, Daniel, have you actually not eaten? Because you've been talking about food quite a lot in this show.
No, I just didn't have a very big dinner, and I went for a run today
Oh.
because I joined a running class at work, so I'm kind of like I'd like some more in my belly.
Makes sense. But you can always tell when someone on a podcast hasn't eaten because they keep talking about food.
I did actually have a really nice dinner. I had 3 slices of French toast, so it was like
Good stuff.
It wasn't nothing,
Yeah.
and I had it with like wholemeal bread, which like is really nice because it's all crunchy when you fry it. It's really good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, you guys giving out to me for talking about eating the carrion crawler, and you guys just diving onto
Because this guy actually
This
isn't
is
like you taste
seafood.
good.
This is a crustacean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, carrion crawlers are just grubs, and grubs have extremely high protein.
They do. It's true.
Yeah.
Before we monster hunter this monster, the only thing I would mention, and you kind of mentioned it in passing, DC, the 4th edition Chuul. There is a secondary Chuul called the Chuul Juggernaut, which is literally a huge Chuul.
Yes.
Big Chuul.
Yes.
Yes.
The
Juggernaut.
I'm the Juggernaut.
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. Oh, that's a meme.
So the Chuul Juggernaut is just a bigger, badder Juggernaut. Bigger, badder Chuul.
It sounded like you said. I know we're talking about chills, but it sounded like you said chill Juggernaut.
He's just chill.
Chill Juggernaut.
But it has 2 cool abilities that I'm going to mention here as things we could steal. Both of these abilities play on the same thing, which is the idea that the Chuul are created by the aboleths, so they have this kind of psychic domineering, mind control-y, psychic assault style abilities. So the two abilities that the Chuul are going to have, the first is a passive aura. It's Psychic Moan, and it's basically an aura within 5 feet. A Chuul Juggernaut exerts a constant hum of psychic energy. Enemies within that area take a -2 penalty to will defense and gain vulnerability 5 psychic. So if we were going to translate that into 5th edition very quickly, we would probably say that it gives you -2 to wisdom saving throws, and it also gives you vulnerability to psychic damage.
Yeah, okay,
Cool.
And then it has... What, sorry?
Go for that second ability. I have a feeling I know what's coming.
Its second ability is Psychic Lure, which is just a standard at-will power. It's a ranged attack. It deals psychic damage and attacks the will defense, so obviously it takes advantage of that weakness it's created with its other ability. And then it also pulls you 5 squares, so it kind of tugs you toward, it lures you towards it. It uses almost like a siren song ability. So I think if we were to translate that into 5th edition, the easiest thing to do would be to say that the target makes a wisdom saving throw, and if they fail, they take some psychic damage, which they are vulnerable to. So we'd probably make it low. We might say something like D6 plus 0. Maybe I should say D6 psychic damage, because it doesn't have a wisdom. The Chuul in the book doesn't have a wisdom modifier. So we might just say D6 damage, but obviously if you're in the aura, you're going to take you're going to double that damage. So it's kind of dangerous, but you're also pulled towards the Chuul.
You're not going to have the vulnerability until you are within the range of the thing.
Yes.
So until you have been lured in a couple times, you're not going to be taking significant damage out, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it makes your heavy hitters in the front take substantial damage, but they can take it. But it also means that your guys in the back, your glass cannons, not take as much damage. So it kind of evens out the amount of damage based on HP.
Yes, cool. and to play with that aura and that lore idea, a really cool final ability to give this creature would be like a Psychic Screech, where every creature within close range has to make a save, a wisdom save, because that we're taking advantage of that aura we have. And then every creature that fails takes more psychic damage than the lore, so maybe 2d6 or a d8 or a d12, which again, they will suffer more damage because of the vulnerability, so we don't want to go too high. But then they're pushed back instead. So that idea that this combat has this kind of dynamicism of it pulls enemies towards it, has this lure, it weakens your psychic, it weakens your mind, and it pulls you in, and it kind of draws you in with these strange whispers and promises, and you feel your body moving without understanding, and then suddenly there's this massive screech, and you and all your friends are thrown back, and you're tumbled aside by this massive blast of energy. And the benefit there is that as the kind of melee characters start to surround this creature, it'll sort of take advantage of that and get to attack all of them, which is very useful. Kaboom. Obviously.
Nice.
Yeah, so there you go. That's just sort of playing on the 4th edition Chuul Juggernaut, which you can find in the first monster manual if you're looking for the basic stat line. But it's just a Chuul that's bigger and has some cool powers, and I've kind of described them, but you can still obviously check them for reference, or, change it to be different. You could have it be that instead it uses lightning.
Yes.
Sure.
There's also the
real light.
The Ulchalon, who's the slime Chuul, who speaks for itself. I don't need to go into it. If you know slime,
I think there's always more room for slime in D&D.
Yep, I guess so. Tim, you're allowed to have your opinion. Okay, so let's Monster Hunter this monster, because I have one idea, to be honest with you. You know its sense magic that it has? What if you got its you made a Chuul helm with its head or something, and you wear it, and you have the tentacles, and you have that sense magic ability. And then maybe you can get its pincers on your arms, and then use them as something if you want the full armor bones. But that's silly. But definitely, getting its sense magic ability is cool, because it's a different kind of sense magic than detect magic. It's more of a natural sensing of magic, I think.
And maybe it kind of nullifies the magic items that you're holding, because it's not an inherent magic effect. So maybe it's because it kind of nullifies the inherent magic that they have, or something like that, which could be cool. And
maybe give in you understand deep speech when you're wearing it too. That could kind of
that's good. Cool. Yeah.
I had a little idea there before we started, where once you defeat it, you can take some of its tentacles and like attach them to a gauntlet, and then punch your enemies with an offhand attack, and then they have to roll the paralyzing thing, and like only give them like maybe 8 tentacles per Chuul that they slay, so that like they have this offhand attack that they can do for like a bonus action that doesn't do any damage but potentially paralyzes, and it can be reloaded for like a free action or something.
That's interesting. That's pretty. That's a pretty cool way of looking at it.
Yeah, you punch them and then this tentacle explodes on them and they get poisoned.
Explodes?
By it.
Well, that's different than I was thinking.
Well, you like have it on your fist and you like punched it onto them.
I was thinking you're just slapping him with it, with the tentacle.
You just have a special gauntlet that you don't get paralyzed by, and just slap them with it.
Yeah, might as well.
Nice, sure, yeah, okay.
You could make a potion out of the you use the extracts from the tentacles and make either a poison that paralyzes people, or you could make like an antidote that like removes paralysis from your allies.
Very good, yeah. Actually, using a Chuul as like some sort of heavy antidote for poison is a good like lore idea, I think, because if you want the best poison, go to a Chuul. Best antidote, go to a Chuul, because they are naturally, immune to poison. So that's very cool.
That's a good idea, yeah.
And then there's a classic, you just use their shell as an armor, because 16 is significant enough as a natural armor, and then plus whatever dex you have, that's going to be a good chunk. It'll probably be a heavy armor, so you might have disadvantage if you're not proficient in heavy armors, but
maybe
nice.
When you have the full armor set, you can breathe underwater like the Zora armor in Zelda.
And your swim speed is the same as your walking speed.
Yeah, that's cool. So you can do that water temple people always want to do, which I think just me, because everybody hates water temple but me.
Yeah, we had a lot of that in the treasure trove episode recently.
Did we? Oh, we did. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, lots of underwater stuff. Yeah. The manta ray cloak and the bubble face thing.
Cap
and the iron boots.
Iron boots.
The iron boots.
I can't swim anymore. These aren't magical. They're just heavy.
Iron boots would be a really good D&D item. I don't know how
extra AC.
I don't know how you'd use them. No, just you're just heavy boots that you go to the bottom of the ocean with them.
They're just like a diving suit. They're just really, really heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Any more items?
Yeah.
Any more?
I think we've cut them into small enough pieces now. I don't think there's much more we can get out of them.
True. You could do a kind of like a. Sorry, just thinking this is like so weird. You could almost be like, you use a like Chuul and you kill it and use its bit to make like a Chuul like hacking kit, like an alchemical hacking kit. So you can like the pheromones in Half-Life 2 that let you control the antlions.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like you create some kind of device or like potion that lets you like temporarily control Chuuls as if you were an aboleth.
Right,
like,
interesting.
Like you can mind control them and order them around.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Weird.
Maybe because we didn't Monster Hunter the aboleth. Maybe if one was to Monster Hunter aboleth, that could be another.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah,
that could be an idea to use them. But maybe when we're doing like aboleth revisited, like many years in the future, we can do something like that. But that'll be in like 20 years' time.
The Creature Club reboot.
Yeah. Or you're going to get rid of me and get some younger guy.
Yeah. We're going to get rid of all of us because we're practically all the same
That's
age.
true, yeah. That's cool. That's a cool idea, Dan. I really like that.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
We got some time here. This is kind of like a very light Creature Club episode compared to others.
Yeah. Creature Club lights.
I don't know. He's just kind of boring, guys. I'm sorry.
Well,
don't apologize, man.
Like without his big boss, he's just his underling. Like he doesn't have much identity or individuality. He just does his thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like him as Harpingers.
Yeah, they're cool for that. Yeah, they're cool to. But then again, that's like foreshadowing the aboleth fight that your players will be going into. That's nothing to do with just these guys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't know what to do with them. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's all right, man.
No worries, mate. Well, thank you all so very, very much for listening to our sweet little podcast. We love you all very much. If you want to listen to us on the reg, you can go to our website at creatureclubpodcast.com. We also have a contact page on there if you want to throw any of your ideas about using Chuul bits and bobs, or you can send them directly to our email address at creatureclubpodcast@gmail.com. We regularly check it.
Yeah, if you like Chuuls, and if you have used Chuuls in a different way and a cool way, please let us know. Try and change my mind with it, guys. Try and give me some more cool ideas on Chuuls, and that'll be cool.
I think Chuuls are useless. Change my mind.
Yes, that's the meme. So our email is creatureclubpodcast@gmail.com. Our website's creatureclubpodcast.com. Go there. New episodes every Monday. We want stuff.
I was so curious
Give us
where you
your
were going with
stuff.
that.
I was going to say we want homebrews, actually, for a homebrew special we're going to do at some point. Either ones built by yourself or ones that you found. Make sure you credit them if you're going to send to us. And, keep on sending all your questions and queries and all that stuff,
Throw an old review on iTunes if you can. I don't think we've gotten an iTunes review yet, so if you're the first, we'll give you a good old shout out. We might even read your review live on air.
Cool. Daniel, any closing comments?
What if Chuul, but backwards?
Luke.
No, I think we're quite. We've mentioned everything. We've mentioned the request for homebrews. We mentioned the email address. The only other thing I'll say is that I don't know how much people are sharing it, but we are slowly gathering more and more listeners, more and more regular listeners, and that's great. I'm not so concerned with getting lots of people. It's just nice to know that there are, a group of people who listen to this on a weekly basis, and they like it.
If you think your friends will like it, tell them. Or don't even. Keep it to yourself. Keep it a secret. Use all of our ideas and become the greatest DM of them all.
Yeah, because our ideas are the best. Proven.
Our ideas combined create the greatest DM.
Let's end it there. So I have been Mikey.
I've been Tim.
And I've been Dan.
Yep.
Stay cool.
Chuul away, train, never look back. Does that work?
Chuul's on parade.